Hello, and welcome to Can I Say Something? What you got to say? Hey, this is an awesome day because it's awesome because I have an awesome guest, and that's none other than Danielle. Hello,
Hello.
Danielle. How you doing today?
I am doing amazing today. I'm so excited to be on Can I Say Something? Thank you for having me on your show today.
Wow, it's a blessing to have you here. Now, before we get started, I just want to share with the viewers about you. You're going to get into your story, but I want to talk about what you are doing now. Since you're an overcomer, what you got going on now?
Well, right now I am the director of student services in the Madison Metropolitan School District, where I oversee 52 of their schools, 32 elementary schools, 12 middle schools, and 6 high schools. I implement social emotional learning, restorative justice, and work with social workers, psychs, and counselors, just making sure that our students' well-being and mental health is in place. And so I'm really excited about the work that I get to do there. And that's my primary focus right now.
Wow, wow, that's major. That is really major. Working with the students from elementary to high school, you said?
Elementary through high school, yes.
Through high school.
Madison is a predominantly white district. However,
Mhm,
the student population is increasing. And so they
mhm.
have a anti-racist policy where they're actually seeking people of color to come in to represent. And so I was one of the fortunate ones, I think, to get elected to work on the team and work in leadership. So yes, it's the entire district. The great part about it is that I've worked as a teacher with
Mhm.
32. I've worked as a principal and have an impact of maybe 400 students, but now I have the impact of being able to work with 52 schools impacting 27,000 students. So I love
Woo!
what God has done for me and the access he have given me. And so it's amazing to be able to do work to help people of color.
Wow. Wow. Oh my God. So you are a great access to the community abroad. Wow. Wow. Well, I'm excited to hear about your story. Um, you said your story is about how to be a thief and look fabulous, right?
Oh, yes, yes.
And her story today is going to be one straight out the ballpark park because I can't even fathom how she's going to tell this story. And I know it's a true story. So I'm anxious to hear how to be a thief and look fabulous. You go ahead, Danielle. Tell us how can we.
But you know what? I love the way you say it, right? You know, you just put that interest on it that drew me in. I forgot what that was all about. But yes, thank you so much. How to be a thief and look fabulous. What a wild topic and what an interesting concept. I would like to say first, but I'd like to start off by saying
Mhm,
that life stole from me.
mhm,
I was born in prison. I always tell people in the projects of Chicago.
mhm,
My mother and father both were very young on drugs, in and out of detention centers. And then here I was, not able to decide proper care for myself, not
mhm,
able to, what was stolen from me was parental rights. I didn't know who my father was. Life
mhm,
had stolen from me before I even had a chance to make a decision and know how to speak. My identity,
mhm.
my sense
Wow.
of self-worth. And so all of that is rooted in how to be a thief and look fabulous.
Mhm,
Because what I've learned was that you can steal back from life. But
mhm,
it's so special how you do it. You steal back by stealing back your integrity,
mhm,
stealing back character,
mhm.
stealing back your right to an abundant life, stealing back your right to literacy. So I stole back everything life has stolen from me, and I look fabulous because I can stand on everything that was meant to
Mhm.
be harmed. I was supposed to be in prison. And yes, I was a pretty little thief because I stole things from people because that's how it materializes itself.
Yeah.
But now it's so beautiful to be able to recognize that I'm in a place where I don't have to do it anymore. And that's how you be a thief and look fabulous. Now I can go into and I can tell people my story, and I can steal back people who are going down the wrong track. I
Yeah.
stole back a kid today who's 6 years old. He was giving me the F you finger, and I kept telling him, I just want to love you. I just want to love you. I'm stealing back souls. And so
That's what
how
it is.
fabulous is that you stand on your pain,
Yeah.
you triumph in your trauma, and you
Yeah.
share it and you use it and you say, can I say something? And you tell somebody what you've been through. And that's how you be a thief and look fabulous.
Wow. Wow. You got it, viewers. That's how you can be a thief and look fabulous by stealing back those things that were taken or stolen or slipped from you. Wow, Danielle, I like that. I like the way you connected that. Wow. Wow. And so when you were coming up, did you ever, now I know this may be a little touchy part here, but I know did you go on search for your father? Is
So
that correct?
I actually wrote a book about it. It's
Mhm,
called Journey
mhm,
to Self-Love. It should be
mhm,
coming on Amazon by the end of the year. I don't have a launch date yet, but it's already
mhm,
in. And so my dad, I shared the story that my dad got mentally ill at the age of 25. He
mhm,
was diagnosed with schizophrenic and bipolar. And back then,
mhm.
the only word that we had for people with mental illnesses was that they were crazy. And
Yeah.
so people referred to Joe as Crazy Joe. And because Joe had been diagnosed with that illness, to me, he was also crazy. My mother
Mhm,
had and so I was brought up until I was about 7 years old, thinking that my stepdad was my father. That was one of
mhm,
life's lies. Don't ever do that
mhm,
to a child. You know, children have a
mhm.
right to know who their biological parents are, because again, you start stealing their self-worth. And so
Yeah.
those one of those things that were stolen. And so I'd always seen Joe, but I've
Mhm,
never acknowledged Joe as my father because he was crazy. And I didn't
mhm,
want a child identify with that crazy man as being my father, because then what would that make me? And
mhm,
so for a long time, I stood in denial with even acknowledging him. He would come around, I would run. He would tell people he's my father. I would say, no, you're not. And maybe I knew, but didn't know.
mhm,
And so I also felt ostracized by my family, and maybe none of it was intentional. But for
mhm,
some reason, because Joe was crazy, I
mhm,
always felt like that they either thought I was, or I was
mhm,
going to be, or there was
mhm.
just this stigma that something had to be or was going to happen to me. And thank God it didn't. And the
Wow.
ironic thing is that it's happened to so many other people in my family now.
Yeah.
And even though I'm not happy about it, I do have a little like, and they thought it was going to be me.
Yeah. They thought it was you.
Shame on the people
Yeah.
for having that judgment. Now, you know, I have family members who have children that's dealing with their child in a mental illness. Now they know how harmful that is for a child or anybody who's
Yes.
dealing with that. And so, but because I was in denial for so long, I went on till I was 47 years old with not really connecting with Joe. Like
Mhm.
I still didn't want him to be who he was until I got the blood test done. So Joe would
Okay.
always come around, and maybe like 3 years ago, he came around and we had blood work done, and it was official that he was
Mhm.
really my biological father, and
Yes.
it changed a
Yes.
lot,
Yeah.
changed a lot for both of us.
Yes. 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 Okay. I remember when you was on that journey. I really do. I really do. So you said something about how they stereotype um people, just because mom or dad was that, a lot of times and it's people right in your own family, girl. have the audacity to speak things over your life. But God, but God, He has the final say on who we are, what we become, what our challenges are, and how we overcome our challenges. And I just want to say, Danielle, you have overcome that challenge. Oh, wow. And, um, uh, bipolarism runs in on my children's father side of the family. And my son is bipolar. And so I know um, the challenge that it is. People, and I say this all the time, you can't don't talk about my child and his or her struggles and you have children, because believe you me, they're going to end up having struggles as well. And whether it's the same thing as my child or your child, the bottom line is, let's not talk negative about our children, but talk and be encouraging to each other regarding our children. And so, a lot of times people like to talk about how they feel about people with mental illnesses. And until it happens to them, they will really never understand it at all. And so, Danielle, I'm so excited for you because you are walking in a victorious lifestyle, and what could have been didn't happen. What could have been did not happen. Wow.
Absolutely, Miss Simmons. What could have been as I said, as growing up in where I grew up at, being a thief became a part of my lifestyle. It was what my mother did for a career. It was what many of my family members did for a living, is what you did. And so I literally became a thief for the first 15 years of my life, stealing stuff from Walgreens to buy stuff to eat, stealing my lipstick, stealing clothes, in and out of getting caught at 14, 15 years old, almost dropping out of high school. I was headed nowhere. And so like to really make those changes, it took a lot of ambition. It took I sometimes attribute it to my third grade teacher, and that's why I love teaching. I taught third grade for 13 years. My third grade teacher saw something in me that I think still kept a light in me to this day to continue to get my education. And so it wasn't until I was taken out of the Chicago public school system, I moved to Houston. My mother had relocated. So I got out of the ghettos. I ended up moving to a suburban neighborhood that we really couldn't afford to live in, but it started to allow me to see things differently. I went to an all-white school. I started seeing where kids wanted to learn. There was clubs to be in. And that environmental shift caused me to see myself differently. And I think just being taken out of the ghettos, I say from the urban to suburban, it shifted my mindset. I ended up graduating from high school. Took me 14 years to calibrate, right? You don't grow up in trauma and then know how to behave in the real world. It took many years. I'm still healing now. But the good part is, after 14 years of trying to get a 4-year degree, I did it.
That's all
it
that
allowed
matters.
me to it allowed me to change some things. And so what I just like to say as a result of my story is not a cookie cutter story, but it's one that I can wake up every day and be so grateful to, because I'm not struggling. My son is in college right now on a full ride scholarship. Daughter went to college on the scholarship. We won't ever see poverty again. Like, they won't have to live the life that I did. And it's like a hero's journey. Both my parents are deceased right now. And the story that I have to tell is that, that your trauma can be your testimony. Your pain can be your purpose. And I've used all of those things to become the person that I am. And I love who I'm becoming. I love the work that I get to do. I love the life that I get to live. I love my children. And I'm just grateful. Like, I can't even say more than that. And I still struggle. I still have ups and downs. I'm single, I'm divorced. But I am really learning to love and like myself.
Yeah. Yes. And that's the personality you have. You're never down, never have attitude. You're always upbeat. And whenever I get a chance to talk to you or share with you, you always pull me out of whatever low point that I'm in. Always, Danielle. And it's because of you. It's because of you that pretty much is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I think I mentioned it to you, and I said, "Oh, not good in front of the camera." And you said, "Yolanda, start practicing," and and I heard you, and I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it, but I appreciate you so much. I really do. I really do. And as you were talking about how you use your journey now, um, and how you are an overcomer, it just takes me back, my mind back to how, and I'm talking to my viewers right now. Don't ever think that it's too late. Danielle didn't think it was too late. It wasn't too late for her. It wasn't too late for me. You can do whatever your heart desire is to do. Age is not a factor. Education is not a factor. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. But it's going to take some dedication. It's going to take some focusing. It's going to take putting things in perspective, in priority, and that way you can be successful in the direction that you choose to go in. I call uh, Danielle's journey, I call her journey, her story, I consider it as her recycling what happened to her, even from when she was born, from the day she was born. She recycled what she went through. She recycled it. How did she recycle it? Instead of her walking, instead of her walking around being angry, mad with the world, upset, saying, "Well, I didn't have a good start from the beginning." Instead of her doing that, instead of her blaming everybody, I'm sure, Danielle, you did in the beginning, but instead of letting that overtake her, overpower her, when the third grade teacher showed up in her life, somehow, some way, that third grade teacher softened her heart enough that she was able to be heard by Danielle. And that is what caused Danielle to move forward. And all I can say is, but God, God will send you somebody, Danielle, or he'll send you to somebody. And whatever God has for you is for you. So to the viewers, I want to encourage you. There's somebody that's sitting right there in their car watching. Can I say something? What you got to say? And you want to blame everybody for your situation that you're in. But Danielle and myself, we are witnesses. Man, we are witnesses that you can do whatever it is that you desire to do. The Bible tells us that no weapon that is formed can work against us. All I can say is just put God first in everything that you do. And when you do that, he will send somebody to you. He will lead you to somebody. He will open doors. Am I right, Danielle? He
Right,
will
I can
open
shout over here.
doors. He will, girl, people will open doors for you and they'll be trying to figure out why. They will favor will fall up on you. And it'll be like, they'll be saying, I don't know why I gave Danielle this opportunity. I don't know why. but for some reason I gave it to her. And so I want to thank Danielle Johnson for being on the show today. I appreciate you. I enjoyed the testimony, and I am sure there is someone who's listening right now. This story was made just for you. And Danielle, as we get ready to close, there's a saying that what we go through is not for us. Yeah, tell somebody that while they're going through. But when you come out, but when you come out and you come out with the victory, then you realize that you are an overcomer. And what we do here at the show and what you just did is you find yourself sharing because you care, and you have the information and the influence to share with others so they may be successful just like you. Our time is up, but like I said, Danielle, thank you. I appreciate you. And truly, someone was blessed listening to your story. And Danielle, you're going to have to come back because you said you got a book in the oven and you don't have your release date yet. But Danielle, when you do, I want you to come back on this show. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
I want you back on the show and really, really share with us the details of the book. How to Be a Thief and Look Fabulous. Danielle Johnson. All right. This is Can I Say Something? Yes, you can. What you got to say? I'll see you guys later next time. Thank you, Danielle. Bye-bye.